My name's Adrian Mills. I'm General Manager of BBC North. I'm responsible for the day-to-day running of the BBC at Media City. I think it's really important for students to speak to industry professionals so that they find out what people in the business really want and what they're really looking for. It's great to hear from professors and academics, but at the end of the day, you need to know what people in business want. I think there are two key bits of advice I'd give students. The first is be yourself. The second is learn your craft. If you're struggling to get into the industry, keep trying, keep networking, and if that fails, try something else and come back to it later when you've got more confidence. There is no chemical equation or mathematical formula for success, but the great thing about the Great Northern Creative Expo is that it gives you all the ingredients you need to make informed choices about the kind of career you want and how you go about getting into it.
My name is David Hothersall. I'm from a company called Insight Simulation. I've worked with the university for quite a while. I used to come in here and set real-world course projects for the students. I've been involved in virtual reality since the early 90s, so that dates me a little bit. But obviously with the upsurge in interest in virtual reality, I thought I'd come and share some information with the students now from what I know. My talk particularly, obviously the technology is now relevant to the games industry with the resurgence in virtual reality, but I think generally for industry to come in and talk to university students is great, because I'm not sure that that's something that is actually taught as such. And I think we've all made the mistakes out in business, and I think students need to know that there are challenges out there, shall we say, that's the word thing there, and make mistakes, and making mistakes isn't a bad thing. It can be good as long as you learn from those mistakes and don't keep making the same mistakes.
I'm Hannah Spikings. I am a 25-year-old freelance artist, and I specialise in comic art and just general freelance art, but I did a game design talk today about freelancing in games. I talked about my experience in the industry and then how that transferred into freelancing and the experience I had there. So I would say, it's always a case of starting small, see what you can do, see what your limitations and what the pitfalls are, and always try and work to overcome them in a way that works for you, and just go from there, really.
My name is Simon Lovell, and I am Head of Continuing Drama Production. So today what we're doing is we're on our set in the Lamb and Packet pub, which is our main kind of character hub for the community of an ongoing continuing drama production that we're filming this summer, which is 10 episodes that will be broadcastable on television. In terms of what students will get out of this workshop today, is they get a really hands-on experience of how the production workflow works in continuing drama productions. The Great Northern Creative Expo itself, it's a wonderful opportunity for students to come along and really go to workshops like we've got here, as well as talking to industry professionals about their careers and their experiences in general, making that transition from the education to the industry itself.
My name's Greg Saxton, I'm part of Two Blue Ticks Theatre Company, and we're here today performing a new play, Same Same But Different. Well, the expo has been hosted by UCLan, which is where I studied, so it's a bit of a hometown gig in that way. So it's always nice to do something back at the university. I'm hoping that when people come along, they'll see. Well, hopefully they'll enjoy it. Hopefully they'll have a bit of a laugh. But it's also just to see that theatre doesn't have to be in huge grand auditoriums. It can be done in a classroom, in a street, in a garage, wherever you want it to be, which is what I'm doing with this show. It's so much of, especially in kind of grassroots theatre, filmmaking, anything, the best approach is to have a DIY approach. Get a bunch of people together who have these interests and get the stuff on. And that's the best advice I can really give to prospective, whatever it is you're doing, whether you are a playwright or a screenwriter or a director or whatever. Make the work yourself, get it out there. There are so many avenues, so many ways you can get work out to people.
I'm Coach Kieran, the founder of Thunder, an expert children's coach. Basically been invited back to UCLan today, where it all started 13 years ago, to share my experience, my struggles, some tips and advice. Every small acorn grows into a huge tree, so just start somewhere and then basically keep hustling and take lots of free advice along the way. like this place, which is an awesome resource for people starting off in business and professionals. You can network like tonight and basically just suck the life out of all their resources to help you get started.
I'm Salma Chowdhury and I'm the founder of the Halal Cosmetics company, and I'm here today for the Meet the Entrepreneur event. I always found it useful to listen to other people's stories and how they started, and perhaps even learn from any mistakes or any challenges they faced. And I'm hoping that, it's the same today really. Somebody will find a little bit of what I've got to say useful and take that away with them. The main advice that I would give really is there is always help out there, and I'd always try and get help from, you don't have to do it all on your own. I think if you do a Google search, or if you come to events like this, what you'll find is there is a range of services that will be able to help you. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice really.
My name is Karen Livesey. My business is CAT, and that stands for Child Sexual Exploitation Awareness Training. And the whole purpose of my business is to raise people's awareness of child exploitation and child abuse. Not a nice subject, but one I think we have responsibility to increase people's awareness on a wider scale. I think research is very important to know exactly what you're getting into. I think financially to have stability. I thought I had that at the beginning, and a few plans and things changed and it rocked my world a little bit. So to have some financial stability, to know that you can live when some of the contracts don't come in as I thought they were going to do, that's quite important. To have flexibility, I think, to start off with an idea but be prepared to change, develop and morph, but at the same time to be core to what you're about. I think to have your individual identity of who you are, what your business is about, and have the courage to take risks. Yeah.
Hi there, my name's James Mulligan. I wear many hats, but one of them is I am the development director at a London and New York film marketing and data company called Together Films. What the presentation is designed to do today is to first teach filmmakers that they are going to have to be in charge of finding their own audiences, especially at the early parts of their career. And then we got into some detail about some of the techniques on how to do that. Two top tips would be start early. Don't feel like you have to do it all straight away. You don't, but you must start early. And the second tip is every time you spend time at your MacBook Pro, you create something. You've written an email, you've composed a tweet, you've written a response to someone's Instagram feed, you've done some research and found a link on a topic or function. Keep all that in a place, in a folder on your desktop, in a Evernote sheet. Make what I like to call a scrapbook. And that will be hugely valuable when you start to actually think about building an audience. For within all of that information, there's going to be a lot of assets that you have. If not necessarily to sell, but to use to have a conversation with people who will hopefully eventually buy a ticket to your film's presentation or rent your film on Amazon Prime.